Hi guys, it's Barry from Escapes and our sister channel, somethingfeelswrong.com. I want to introduce you to second-time visitors that over a period of more or less a year kind of became very close with Leanne and I. We originally met on one of our Escapes tours, and I want to introduce you to two really great people, Doug and Sherry. Hi guys.
Hey.
Hey.
Thanks for doing this and helping us get our message out. And I want to find out, first question with you guys is, what inspired you? Now, I know you're a fireman, or were a fireman till recently. You retired. And I know you have worked in law enforcement at one time. And what else, Sherry?
EMT. And EMT, security work at the hospital.
Yeah, okay. And what inspired you guys to start looking at different countries and different ways? What is it that you were seeing or feeling that caused you to do it? And speak up so people will hear you good.
Well, it started with me. I knew we were retiring at a relatively early age. And I wanted to, initially it was because of what was going on with the economy, trying to figure out how to make our money go as far as possible.
Okay, so initially it started with stretching a dollar.
Right,
okay.
Initially.
Okay.
And then as time went on, it was obvious there were other issues that began to make us feel uncomfortable at home. And so we were...
Well, what kind of issues, though, so our viewers will just... that could be... What is it you were seeing that you're calling issues, I guess, is what I'm asking.
It seemed like things have become more and more tense at home.
Tense? Tense
between even neighbors sometimes, but just wanted a more relaxed environment where I wanted to go back in time.
Okay.
To where people were more connected to one another and more part of a community.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of isolated in our homes with our televisions and you drive off to work and come back and sit in front of the television.
Okay.
We were looking for just something simple lifestyle.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
A healthy lifestyle. Of course, we love being in this climate.
Mm-hmm.
And
as in like a Caribbean? Or?
Right,
yeah.
Caribbean. We love the ocean,
beaches.
warm weather.
Mm-hmm.
And as I learned more about the DR, learning about that there's plentiful water, food, that there's no GMOs, that all appealed to the healthy aspect of a lifestyle.
So were you noticing that sliding?
Yes. Yeah,
yes,
it's
yes.
more difficult at a decent price to find
healthy food.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's everywhere here. So it's not so much a burden to try to eat the way you'd like to.
Right.
Okay. When you decided to take a look on your first tour, I know you enjoyed it. Let's be honest. It's something that the country opened up your eyes to. Probably a better lifestyle and probably a better sustainable lifestyle, more
Yes.
importantly. I know you're both into trends, and I know you're both looking for options that might better weather the storms that you feel that are coming. But I know one of the biggest issues people seem to have is family, and I know you have a big family.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to us a little bit about how you've decided to look at it.
We've looked at it as not only having a nice place to stay, but it's a place to be able to bring our family to, for them to have a healthy lifestyle, for them to have a safe place to live.
But I mean, where I'm going with this is, as you know, we've gotten to know each other well. We see hundreds of people, and I want you to address the issue that you're addressing, because we spoke privately about the majority of your family not getting what's going on here, where this is going.
Right.
And I want to address that issue because that's really common, okay? We're going to touch base about older people, but I want to address the issue particularly with right now family, children, and how you're tackling that, because it's not an easy decision. And what were your thoughts? What that are leading you to ultimately a decision of doing what you feel you have to do? What's leading you in that direction?
Having a secure, safe environment where they could join us if they wish to at some point, which would be, of course, their decision. And there may be things that happen that do make them realize or start looking and understanding. The other thing is at one point we considered staying in the States and possibly going to Florida. But from where we live, it's anywhere between 4.5 to 5 hours, maybe 6 hours to the closest beaches. So the flight here is 3 hours. So we could still be home as quickly or nearly as we would from Florida if there was some urgent reason to go back home. The other thing is, being grandparents, we know that we can go back when the kids are out of school. We would join our family for holidays most likely, and maybe they would come visit us in the summer, or we might go back there to be with them a while in the summer. So when you think about time is mostly the relative point. How quickly can we get back to our loved ones if we desired?
What about the aspect of the nation's changing and the poop hit the blade, so to speak? That's where I want to go with this, because I don't like to sugarcoat anything, and I know a lot of our subscribers are facing that issue right now.
Right.
I can't because of the children.
Right. And that had been a real struggle with me. Felt like that was abandoning my family. But I've come to realize that if we're there, if something happens, we're not going to be able to do very much being there. But if we have somewhere for them to come to, it would be a better situation for our family to have something already set up, a safe haven to come to. And it took me a while to come to that. And just talking to different people, talking to you and just other people, and then Sherry and I discussing it, and just coming to realize that there's not much, if it really hits the fan there, that we would be able to do.
Well, if you're not in a position of strength, if you're the
Right.
same weakness as everyone around you, there's not much you can do to help one another unless you have something to offer. And if we were in the worst case scenario that people have talked about, where possibly there's no fuel for vehicles, maybe the water system is shut off for a time, or maybe a long time, electricity, most of us will be stuck in or near our homes or our jobs wherever we were when it happened, with no way to get anywhere except for maybe walking. Well, the distance to our families from where we live is not that far driving, but to try to walk, and then if things were possibly violent or aggressive, we're not going to be able to just take a road and expect to carry supplies miles, even if we have them in our home. And I don't think that they could get to us easily either.
Do you feel that, because you live there, I haven't for decades now, do you feel it's taking that turn to that direction?
I do.
I think it's a possibility. It concerns me. Some things became so negative that sometimes they were overwhelming. So sometimes I would take a break from the information.
Like overload kind of thing?
Yes, yes.
Right.
And I know that if I get down, or whatever the moods are you go through, maybe a little frustrated or angry, I'm not going to help myself or anyone else. So sometimes you have to, step back, think about it, pray about it. But ultimately, I do want to know generally what's going on. So I'm usually back at it again after a while. And you have to be careful that you're checking and listening to reputable people. We've talked about the media, how a lot of times they're not projecting the
truth.
The truth. Yeah.
Right.
So
And just from my point of view, being a fireman now retired, but just a couple years ago, we would run calls and people loved to see us. We were there to help, but the climate now has changed where even we were being treated bad in a lot of cases, and we would be in and out of people's homes, and just the area that we live, there was a noticeable difference in the feel of the area. You could just tell there was tension.
rather
Do you
than
notice
being,
Or there
something
is
to divide
tension.
and conquer?
yes,
Yes.
Be it with color or stature, religion,
Yeah.
they're dividing people amongst themselves.
Yeah,
And
and we witness it every day.
any difference that can be played upon, whether it's religious or race or gender, whatever. There are divisions, yeah,
Right.
and I've never experienced the kind of hostile climate at times that as a child and all through my growing years, I never experienced that. But now I can see it and I can feel it,
Starting
and
to
it's
see it and feel it.
heartbreaking because I felt people were much more connected in the past, and that's kind of what I was talking about, going back to the past. Where I mean, it's not possible to go back to the past, but some places are a little more laid back.
Right.
Also, I was going to say, in regards to when you would go on a call, usually someone has a medical emergency typically, and you're going into someone's home to help maybe a family member, neighbor, whatever. And you would be considered a blessing. You're there helping someone who needs assistance. But when you come in, there's a tension and an air of mistrust. I mean, you're there to do your job, but it's like, well, I would prefer someone different than you were in my home.
how long ago in your careers did you start noticing that change? Is it a year? Is it 5 years?
Maybe
Four?
two. No, maybe last 2 to 3 years, maybe.
You
for
started
me.
noticing it changing
I
quite a
did.
bit.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting.